All right, here's the thing about funding. I have an unconventional way of doing funding. I hardly ever ask for money, okay? What I do is I get organizations with money to partner with me in different ways so they get so invested that they want to give, okay? So like I told you, when I go in and I get to know a city, I get to know the gaps in programming, right? And I do get to know who the major funders are, and I engage them in different ways, okay? So whether they be fraternities, whether they be sororities, whether they be philanthropic organizations, whether they be school systems, you know, I do my best to engage them and fill in a gap. And usually the money just comes. Like this program I'm doing with the municipal court, I didn't ask one person. They came to me and said, well, we found the money, all right? And that's how I do it as a nonprofit. Oh, and can I say one more thing? Gatekeepers. Do you know what I mean by a gatekeeper? Yes. It's a little old woman in the community that knows everybody, right? And who will vouch for you. And if you're working in a community, if you're in a church or whatever, pay attention not to the person who has authority, pay attention to the person who has influence. Another story, and I promise this will be the last one. When I walked into, when I went into Peoplestown, I just went to their neighborhood association meetings. I know how to write grants. I found one person who could pull everyone together, and I told them, look, let's all go in together for this, this Justice Department grant. While I was explaining, my wife was in there, real funny. This one woman the whole time was like, who are you? You know, coming in our community, we got this, and stuff like that. You know, so my thing was like, you know, I'll still write the grant. One of your organizations could be the fiscal agent, right? So my wife was mad. But when they saw me take the time to write that grant, and I didn't charge them anything or whatever, and then you know, after I wrote that grant, I was out till they sent me the grant, right? And the organization that decided to become the fiscal agent, right? They just became the fiscal agent because the woman was making noise about me, but they didn't really want to manage the grant. So in the grant, they wrote me in as the project director, right? So I ended up getting paid, you know, 10 times more than I did writing the actual grant. You see what I'm saying? And then the woman that was all up in arms, once I written the grant, every time I'm at a meeting, how you doing, Mr. Well? You see what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So,
all right.
Question.
Yeah.
You were talking about writing grants. Would you, for all the nonprofits, would you recommend finding a grant writer, or like, is that something
no.
that you have a...
This is what you do. All right. First of all, Foundation Center. I think it's foundationcenter.com. Who said that? Oh, Dara. Okay. Foundation Center. Go ahead and get yourself a little membership. Okay. And they have all the training on there. How to write grants and stuff for these organizations, right? Go to grants.gov, federal government, right? Get your membership on there, right? Become a organization searching for grants, right? Not only for most federal grants, do they spell it out in absolute detail what you need to do. Not only do they give you a checklist and say, have this in here, have this in there, and have that in there, they also have a website that trains you through videos, right? Not only do they have a website that trains you through videos, you could pick up the phone and call the government, call technical assistance, right? And ask them questions. Not only do they do that, some of their grants, you can send it to them ahead of time, and the technical assistant will look at it and say, no, this is crap, do it again, or this is good, do it again. And some of them, well, they used to do this, depending on how big your organization is, they might fly a technical assistant out, right? So you have all the resources to write a grant right there online. You don't necessarily have to hire someone to do it. But yes.
Tiny little interjection for anybody that's actually thinking about registering for grants.gov.
Yeah, that's right.
The process is not a short process.
Right.
So if you find a grant that you're interested in, make sure you submit all of your things, because you have to have your DUNS number, you have to have your IRS, EIN. All of that stuff has to match, and the process usually takes about a month from start to finish before everything is certified and ready for you to even apply.
and follow that checklist, because I also happen to be a grant, a peer reviewer. That means the government gets so many grants that they hire people to read and score the grants for them. So I score grants, right? And I score grants, and so do all the other grant reviewers by the checklist. So you don't leave anything out of that, just follow it. And you're, you know, you're in. Now, a lot of people apply for these grants. So we score them like real tight. Here's the thing. Just because you don't get the first one, just because you don't get the second one, don't stop. Keep going. And then what you do, see, you asked the question, so me talking so much is your fault. What you're doing is you're creating a template. So there's something specific that your organization does. Your organization doesn't change every time a new grant comes, right? You create a template of what your organization is, what your organization does, how much money it takes to run it. When you go on grants.gov, you just do a search of all the grants, right? And the grants will tell you exactly what they fund and who they funded. So all you are doing is adapting your template to the need. I'm not telling you to lie, but you're adapting your template to the needs of that, or the desires of that grant. That's all you are doing. So once you get your template down, once you get your structure down, you do want to have a person in your organization, once you get that size, that's just dedicated to writing grants. So there's a part of me that I just, you know, I'm always on Foundation Center grants.gov and I'm writing grants. Okay? And that's what you do. And after a while, people will get to know you. So for instance, the reason why I can go to DC and my kids can make presentations, you know, at the Justice Department, Department of Education, whatever, because all the program managers in DC know me because I got grants. They were my technical assistants. I'm always calling my technical assistants in DC. So they know me. And then what they want to do is they really want to see, because they're policymakers in some room somewhere checking off grants. They never get to see, you know, what they do. So I remember we went to the Department of Education one time. The kids made a presentation, my kids from Chattanooga, and Arnie Duncan's chief of staff came in there to listen to the presentation. Well, she's the one that wrote Race to the Top, that fund, right? And Tennessee was a recipient of Race to the Top, and the school where I was teaching got a lot of those funds. So the kids are making the presentation, she's listening. In the midst of the presentation, she realizes that the policy she wrote, these kids benefited from it. They realize she's the one that wrote it. So high fives, hugs, tears, all like that, because she's never had that opportunity. So yeah, I don't know what got me there, but all the tools you need are right there for you. Is that it? Is that any more? I got all night, but y'all, yeah. Yes, ma'am.